there, in this activity we'll manipulate this photo of a blood orange by way of our selection tools and adjustment layers. Here's how this is going to work. First, I want you to make a selection of this area here with the elliptical marquee tool. It's going to be difficult, but that's how you'll truly appreciate the second option once we move to it. The next step will consist of an adjustment layer that we'll further edit through its properties panel. Let's start so you can see what's up. Grab the marquee tool from your toolbox, and in this case, we can see where we should place our cursor, somewhere around this white area. Click and drag a little. Now add Alt into the mix. Shift isn't going to be of much help in this situation, but feel free to experiment with it. As you can see, this orange is set at an angle, so the elliptical marquee has a hard time picking up this particular shape. Do your best and then right-click. From this list, choose Transform Selection. Now with these handles, do your best to further refine this selection. If you simply drag them around, you'll see this is still not enough. We're back to where we started. To gain further control, let's hold the Control key, and this will allow us to distort this selection so it will better fit our blood orange. As you can see, now we're doing a much better job. It's up to you if you want to limit yourself to this central area or if you want to include its rim. I'll focus here and we'll tackle this outer area in a moment. Okay, I'm happy with that. From the bottom of your Layers panel, let's add a Hue and Saturation adjustment layer. Immediately, we can customize it through this Properties panel. Let's check Colorize because we want to change its color dramatically. Now I'll adjust this hue to somewhere around 300. This is going to give us a weird purple shade. For the saturation and lightness, 50 and 0 are good values for this effect. Zoom out with Ctrl 0 and see how you did. If you want to make it another color, maybe something completely strange, go with a hue value of about 230. That's going to make it blue. I like that purple one, so I'll go back to it. Trouble is, if we zoom in close, we can clearly see this edge. That's what you should expect from the marquee tool unless you set your feather radius before you start your selection. Now, it would seem it's too late. If we were to go back, we'd have to go through all that trouble to create our selection again. A good alternative is to undo before we added our layer mask. Right-click and feather the selection from there. But I have a much better option. Here's why I love masks. If you click on this adjustment layer's thumbnail, you'll see this properties panel. Nothing special, that's what we've seen so far. But if you click on the mask, you'll get completely different options. The one I'm interested in is feather. With this slider, I can avoid all that hassle of recreating or modifying my selection. I can focus on this edge and slowly move up this slider. At around 10 pixels, it's starting to go away, but I'll continue to about, say, 40 pixels. Yeah, this is much better. We still have this exterior part to take care of, but that's easily handled with the brush tool. Make sure you're painting on the mask with white. Check the hardness because we want a smooth transition. We also don't want it too powerful, so an opacity of about 50% should be fine. Take your time, but this is not an essential part of the activity. Now let's hide this adjustment layer and try out version number 2 that relies on the Quick Selection tool. Let me check my brush settings before I do anything. Let's use a size of about 200. This is always going to depend on the size of your image, by the way. Auto Enhance is checked. I want a hard brush, so move it to 100% if it's not already there. Now, here's the fun stuff. Paint across your orange. That was what, 2 seconds? The Quick Selection tool is fantastic, and in this case it really did the job much faster than the elliptical marquee. The reason we started this exercise with the marquee was for a few reasons. First, I want you to practice difficult or complex tasks because that's how you raise your skill level. 2. In Photoshop, you can make your life easier or harder depending on the choices you make. We have somewhat the same result, but the stress involved was considerably higher with option 1. Sure, in the case of selections, you now have an idea on how much better the Quick Selection tool is compared to the marquee, but note an important thing. The same can be said for lots of tasks. Meaning, this thought process where you think about the best approach for the job should be the first thing that pops into your mind. Don't jump straight into it. First, ask yourself the question, what's the best way of doing this task? So it's not a matter of if you can do it, but how you do it. I hope this makes sense. Now it's your turn. Download this image and get to work. Please don't be tempted to jump straight to the Quick Selection tool. Yes, I know it's great, but as I said in a previous lecture, the marquees are fantastic in their own right, in certain circumstances. If you manage here, you'll have a far easier time in more appropriate settings. Let me see what weird colours you come up with. Post them in the comments section and let's see who has the strangest one. Have fun!